Hi, welcome to the second part of Halloween tutorial. And first, I suggest to try doing gray-green skin tone. I think that you can use it for the witch or maybe for zombies. If you work with polychromos, you can combine earth green and cream or ivory. And if you work with Prismacolors, I selected pale sage. So you will get very pale but still quite greenish skin tone. For the shading I selected beige sienna and French grey. To practice I selected a back page of Beauty of Horror number 2 and this small portrait of Juliana. I color the whole skin with pale sage and then gradually I start to add shadows along her hair, along her eyes, and on her neck where the head casts shadow on the neck. If you want, you can make her even greener by using celadon green, for example, but I prefer this pale green with a little bit of grey tint into its skin tone. I already tried to do similar skin tone in the book by Tomoko Tashira, where I used polychromos pencils to create this pale grey-green skin tone for the witch. And I also think that you can use your Derwent drawing pencils. In the set we have crack green or green shadow, which will also help you to create perfect skin tone for the corpse or zombie. Now let's color such an important part of Halloween pictures as tombstone. Of course, as a basic color, I selected cool grays from Prismacolor set. I think that 30% cool gray and 70% cool gray will give you nice two colors to create more highlighted parts of the tombstones and also parts which are more in the shadow. I imagine that a light source is somewhere above, maybe it's a moonlight, so the upper part of the tombstone have to be slightly lighter and part which is closer to the ground obviously will be darker. But also if you have some elements, some carving on the tombstone, we also need to put darker shadow under each of the elements, like I did on this picture from Escape to Shakespeare's Vault. You can see that I put 70% cool gray under each of the elements and also closer to the right part, which also will be in the shadows. If you want something more interesting than simple gray tombstone, you can add a little bit of blue, like periwinkle. Maybe there is some glow going from the earth and some dead zombies are started to appear, so it's for you. Sometimes I add a little bit of blue to my tombstones if I want to color fantasy Halloween picture. Also, I suggest to add a little bit of yellow to the upper part of the tombstone to indicate which parts are highlighted by the moon. You can use cream or deco yellow. Now let's go to the green pencil combinations, which you can use for some potions or maybe for the fire from the witch cauldron. I started from very bright peacock green, and for the inner part of the liquid in the bottle I also will be using a little bit of spring green and chartreuse. They are so bright that definitely you will feel that liquid in the bottle isn't something very pleasant and that's really looking like a witch potion. I tried to left some lighter areas inside the liquid and later I will add some highlights on the bottle using a white marker. I think that this color combo is also quite suitable for the green fire. For the second bottle I used similar color combo. I combined dark green, kelp green and canary yellow. In the end, the liquid looked just a little bit more yellowish green, but also quite vicious, and you can imagine that maybe it's some kind of herbal potion, or maybe it's a potion made from frogs. Inside the second bottle I also tried to draw something like steam or fog inside, so maybe the liquid is still steaming. For the inner part of the steam I used kelp green and then added some yellow near the side parts. In the end, if you add some sparkles with golden gel pen, I think that potion looked quite interesting. Now let's do something more sinister. I called the next potion the bloody potion, and of course I will be using 3 red colors. Crimson Lake is quite nice, deep, rich red, so it will be my basic color. I left some highlighted area. I will need them later to show reflections on the bottle. Also, I will be using black raspberry for shading and poppy red for highlighted areas. I won't be coloring the whole bottle, all glass parts of the bottle. I just want to show you which colors I would suggest to use for the blood and for similar liquids. But remember that if you want to color quite realistic looking glass bottles, this red liquid inside of it also will be reflecting in the upper glass part, so you have to think nice about highlights, about shadows, and about reflections. And again, white marker is a very helpful thing to cover all black lines and to add highlights to the glassy surface. Next thing I wanted to show you is how to color black witch clothes. Yes, usually we use black for the witch dresses and mantles, but if you just use one black color, it will look quite plain and flat, and you still need to show the volume of the witch body inside the clothes, so you will need to use something for the highlights. That's why I prefer to combine black with colors like dioxazine purple or with periwinkle, for example. In this way, I put dioxazine or periwinkle to the areas which will be getting more light, like her shoulders or upper parts of the sleeves or upper parts of each folds on her mantle, and then I will add even brighter highlights using white pencil. You know how great a white Prismacolor work on top of dark colors like dioxazine or like black, so this will really help you to show some elements of the black mantle, and in the same time your witch still will be wearing black and not something not very appropriate bright. This part of the picture is from Escape to Oz coloring book, and I think that now I had to finish this picture. I really hate to leave it in such a way when I just started to color it for the tutorial and don't finish it. So I think that you have to expect me coloring this one and to create video for this beautiful picture. And last thing I want to show you in this Halloween tutorial is how to add ghost to your Halloween pictures. Of course, to create a beautiful ghost, you will need first a quite dark background. On the dark background, ghost will look more spectacular. Here I just made quite simple background using Inktense Dark Indigo. I let it dry and then I started to draw my ghost. You can do such a background using watercolors or using acrylic paints. On watercolors and on acrylics, all white pencils work really well and your ghost will look quite nice. The major trick for drawing ghost is to make the outer shape with quite bright, precise lines, and then gradually you need to add more white colors, and closer to the central part of the ghost, white need to be lighter and lighter, more transparent, so in the central part ghost is really transparent. The trick is to change intensity of white. You can use white paints like white gouache or white acrylic, or you can use your white neocolor crayon, or you can use white intense pencil, so it doesn't matter. What is important is to make quite nice strong shape outline of the ghost, and then gradually intensity of white has to fade closer to the middle part. I especially like the look of the ghost on the second page, where I worked with Prismacolor on top of the watercolor background. I thank you for watching this two-part Halloween tutorial. I hope that you will find something helpful for your great and scary Halloween colorings, and I hope to be able to do more Halloween tutorials during this week. Thanks, and have a happy Halloween preparation!